Hi. Welcome to this session, and thank you very much for attending. My name is Cristina Maragall, and I'm the President's Board of the Pasqual Maragall Foundation from Barcelona, Spain. We're very happy to be here in the Congress with a presentation for our first time, and we have been very happy to share with all our colleagues these 2 days where we have learned so many things. Okay, let's see. Let's get started. Today I'm very happy to share this picture with you. It's a family picture, as you can see, but it is relevant for what we want to explain today. Our issue today is raising awareness for a future without Alzheimer with the example of the Pasqual Maragall Foundation and its research center. In this picture, you can see my father 12 years ago. He's carrying my son Nuno on his back, and he's walking forward, smiling. And he has the city of Barcelona beyond. My father was the mayor of Barcelona for almost 16 years, and he launched the Barcelona Olympic Games, but that is not the point today. What is relevant today is that he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's 16 years ago, and he immediately decided to make a public release explaining his situation, and he immediately decided he wanted to take care of this issue. At that time, he knew there was no cure for him, but he decided he had to do something to promote research and to raise awareness for a future without Alzheimer for next generations. In this statement, he announced his determination to promote research for a future without Alzheimer, which he did by launching the Pasqual Maragall Foundation. Beyond that, it was probably his last political act. By maintaining the public statement, he raised the awareness about the impact of the illness in Spain and moved a step forward in this long path towards a new culture concerning Alzheimer's disease that will enhance social changes and promote research. The foundation started working in 2008. It is a private foundation supported by around 70,000 members today, and since 2012, it manages its own research center, the Barcelona Beta Brain Research Center. Our mission is to face the challenges of Alzheimer's and neurodegenerative diseases by providing new scientific solutions while building the background of society's support to achieve this. Our core research program is the Alpha study, which is a longitudinal cohort involving almost 3,000 people since 2012, and that works together with other cohorts worldwide. 80 technicians and researchers work at Barcelona Beta Brain Research Center on 4 different groups: clinical biomarkers and risk factors, fluid biomarkers and translational neurology, neuroimaging, and genomics. At the same time, since the conception of the foundation, we have been concerned about the daily struggle of families, and we offer therapeutical, face-to-face and online support programs for caregivers. We also offer precise and truthful information for families through our blog, reaching a large Spanish-talking community worldwide, and other dissemination tools as well. Through the last years, we realized that we needed to step forward again and advocate for a change in the overall understanding of the illness to make it possible for research and social programs to be implemented in Spain, and that is what we aim for. Groundbreaking research, turning research into a policy priority and changing public consciousness To talk about these issues, it is my pleasure to introduce you to three important women in our team. Karine Fauria, which is the director of the Scientific Coordination Office, Eva Nebot, Public Outreach and Institutional Relations Director, and Arrazola, Communication Director. We will start with Karine, who will talk about facing the new paradigm in the Alzheimer's research results through social awareness. Thank you.
Okay, it's a pleasure to be here, and really thank you to have chosen our project, our team, and I hope we are going to give you some nice information. So I am the scientific part of the trio that is going to explain long stuff today, and what I would like to emphasize as a start of my talk is that since the beginning of the project, we decided that communication and awareness of the general public was very important, not only of the disease, but of the research. And that was something 12 years ago when we started with the project that was not so obvious. Communicating research is not easy, and research is slow, and sometimes it's not something very straightforward to transmit to the population and to the general public. The other thing that we believe is that when the society and the general public is aware of what is happening in one field, things may change, and faster than when it's not known. And that happens in many different, with many different diseases, and we believe that it should happen as well with Alzheimer. So I'm going to introduce you to our research, and with that I'm going to explain to you why we had to do communication and awareness still at the beginning. We decided in 2011, just before launching the Project Alpha, that we wanted to dedicate our research to prevention of the Alzheimer. And at that time, that was not so obvious. That was a very critical point to start to analyze. So because of that, we had to do a lot of communication, a lot of awareness to say, yeah, maybe we are not going directly to the disease now, but there is many people doing that already, and we believe that we have to go on the prevention because we want to explain the story of the disease, what we call the natural history of the disease. We don't know anything about that disease, so we want to follow a group of people that have more risks than the general population, and with that we would like to explain the chronology of the disease. And the only solution was to build a cohort and with regular visits and description of what was happening with them. So that's what we did as a start, and that was, I think, a big strategy decided at that moment, because now you will see we can do things that we will not be able to do without this risk strategy we took at the beginning. I'm going very fast on these things because I'm sure that you already know that, but so as you know, there is changes in the physiopathology of the brain years and years before the apparition, the start of the symptoms. So some people say 20, we around 15 years before, and these changes developing in a different way on the different people, and that's something we want to explain. And that's this part of the history of the disease we think that we have to explain in order to find really what are the mechanisms that maybe are different for the different people, and maybe are different by different type of biomarkers that people may have. So what we are focusing especially is in this phase that we call the preclinical stage, where we have a physiopathological change, but still no symptoms. And it's what we call in research the window of opportunity, because we believe that's where we are going to find specific biomarkers that are in very early phase of development, and that's where we can find ways to tackle them in order to stop or delay at least the evolution of these biomarkers until the disease. I just show you this graph because it's a very common graph that is shown in research. And it's to show the same window opportunity. That's, and sometimes it's not so evident to understand these graphics, but here now we are adding a lot of biomarkers in the middle. That's all the blood biomarkers and other ones, but you still have this window of prevention, of opportunity, where you see that there is something already happening that is not on the normal aging, and maybe some things can be given, done, in order to act against the disease. So we are focusing on what we call the secondary prevention. Yesterday, Giovanni Frisoni explained very well these different phases. So tertiary is when you have already the disease and you are treating the disease with different way. The secondary is when you see that something is happening. It's like when you have cholesterol and you are treating the cholesterol in order to not to develop any cardiovascular disease. And the primary is when you are doing everything not to develop these biomarkers or this pathology that can happen afterwards. And to work on this secondary prevention, what is critical, and that the only way of doing it is to study biomarkers. Biomarkers are all these changes that we can see in wherever field that can describe a phase of a disease. So you have different type of biomarkers, so it's why we have different team working on different fields. So we have the team that's something Cristina already explained, but so we have a team working on more clinical approach, so everything that is related to metabolism, to risk factors, life risk factors, and etc. That can be biomarkers as well. A team working on neuroimaging, looking for everything related to MRIs, PETs, and all these things that are a little bit the only images that we can get from the brain, because that's the black box we have there. It's the only thing to see really the position of the things we are following. The biomarkers team, where they are working especially on blood biomarkers at the moment, but they are developing different type of research, and the genetics, where we are trying to explain the risk of some diseases and the relation between them. As Mia and everybody explained yesterday, this disease is a multifactorial disease. There are things that are not modifiable, that's aging, sex at birth, and genetics, but there are many things we can modify, but not necessarily easily. So that's things we have to see really the impact of the different risk factors on each person and see how we can explain the evolution of the disease. These different risk factors may act in different way on the brain. For example, they can make the brain resilience worse, or they can act on the interaction with the gut microbiota and the rest of the body. So the different risk factors have different heterogeneous actions. So with all this information, we decided to launch our project in 2012. So we wanted to have a population very involved and with higher risk than the normal population. So it's why we decided to call for sons and daughters of people with the Alzheimer's disease. That was for two reasons, because of course there is a part of genetics that, even if it's quite small in the explanation of the disease, exists. There is other things that you transmit to your kids that are not necessarily genetics, that can be the way of living, the life habits, and many things that are in the family. And we wanted people that are involved and that they want to be the family with us and go on the way of having years and years of follow-up on this project. At the beginning, we wanted to do a very technological study, very expensive, so we could only recruit 400 people. That was our objective, our aim. But after the press conference, so at the beginning we tried to find, that's the story I always explain because I find it quite amazing. So at the beginning we tried to recruit these people through the hospitals, through the family associations, and we were going there and speak with the family, the kids, and it was very slow. And I explain that because you can see the connection we had with the communication team already at the beginning of the project. So the research team with the communication team. So one day the people from communication told us, and why you don't do a press conference? And we said like, oh, no way, researchers, we don't do that. That was 12 years ago. And that was a big mistake because we did it. It worked incredibly well, and it made us change the way we started our project. So we did the press conference on the Monday morning, and it was crazy. The room was full of many people there. I think the communication team had done a lot of work, and everybody was waiting after Pasqual Maragall announcement of his disease to see what we were going to do. So there was many people there, and the reaction of the public, general public, was incredible. So we wanted to have 400 cases, and in less than 3 days, we had 3,000 people applying to the project. And in 15 days or months, we had almost 8,000 people. And it's when we said, okay, here we have to stop research only, and we have to think on the society. We have to change our project because we cannot say no to all these people. So we changed the project, and we went on a more easy first visit where we could recruit almost 3,000 people. It was, of course, shorter with less technological approach, so less expensive, and we could visit much more people. And it gave us like a base for the future of our research platform. This incredible response from the public, I think we couldn't avoid it. It would have been a big mistake not to have checked what we could do to respond to these expectations. We have been asking them many times why it happens. And what we believe is that, and what they told us, is that people, they wanted at that time, so it was 12 years ago. 12 years ago, they wanted to be part of something big, a big project related to Alzheimer. They have been living this disease close to them, and they wanted to do something. So this idea of belonging was very important. Then I believe that, and that's something they told us, that the communication we have been doing around the creation of the foundation was very human, very direct, very personal. During years, Pasqual Maragall was speaking for the foundation, and it was something very real. And then Pasqual Maragall has a very good image in Spain. That's one of the politics who has been doing a lot of things. He has he had a strong character, but people like him very much. And I think that's something we have seen. I'm not going to enter in detail, but more or less the first visit of 3,000 people was like a screening for our population. We did to them quite a lot of things. And what was amazing is that we collected at that time blood samples that we put in a freezer. And now, 12 years after, we are we are analyzing for the first time these samples with the blood biomarkers that have been discovered lately. And we are going to have a long history of these people, and it's quite a unique approach by the numbers of cases we have and the timing we have spent between the different collections. At one point, so I think it was in 2016, we started our project that was the initial one we wanted, so the one very, very technological, only on 400 people. That we call the Alpha Plus. So Alpha, sorry, I didn't tell you, is for Alpha, Alzheimer and family, because we want you to have a family direct relative from the people with the disease. So we are doing the other one, we are doing both, and we are trying to follow everything. We are a private foundation, so it's not easy. And sadly, money is not coming to do this sort of project. Money is not coming from countries, from Europe. That's not the sort of project they give money for. So we have to get it from different places. We are always fighting to get the money to pay for these projects. So what we are realizing now, and that we were believing it was going to be like that, but we were not sure 100%, is that our cohort is really like a very good base to test secondary prevention that can be pharmacological or non-pharmacological. But we have a population very well characterized, and when there is a clinical trial on this pre-symptomatic phase, we have perfect participants described to enter in this project. Why we believe that now, more than ever, we have to increase this communication that we have to do with the public, the general public, and convince politics in the different countries that, especially in our country, that they have to be more involved with the Alzheimer's disease, is because many things are happening now that are critical and that we have to jump to take them like a priority in order to change the way the Alzheimer's disease is managed and the research on Alzheimer's disease is done. So, as we know that at the moment Alzheimer's is not possible to be cured, but we start to be able to treat it in different ways. So there is the non-pharmacological way that we know already with the research, and we have to do more on that can be effected on people with the disease and on people without, with caregivers and people who have just risk factors. And the pharmacologic, as you know, this year was an amazing notice that we are starting to have the first treatment that are changing the course of the disease. Of course, these medications are not good, and they have to evolve, they have to be better, but it's the first step. And we believe it's an incredible change that I think that all of us who are working on research in this sort of field, we were amazed by this notice when it happened. That's just to show you why it's so difficult to do the research and to communicate it. The first antibodies that were tested for Alzheimer's disease was in 2001. They were very toxic, there was a lot of stories, and it took more than 21 years to get the approval of lecanemab. How do you explain that to people? How do you do to communicate this information when you have to ask two people to wait 20, 40 years before they see the results of what you are convincing that they have to support you with? That's something, it's one of the issues communicating research. The other big news on Alzheimer was, of course, the start of the blood biomarkers validation, because we have been working on that for ages. But I can tell you that 12 years ago, we were even the people involved in this sort of project saying that, I don't know if we are never going to find blood biomarkers. I don't know if it's never going to be possible, because they are so small quantities that it was almost impossible to try to imagine that it was going to be possible. But with the change in technology and some machines that have been built and works very, very well now, we can do that, and it's another amazing step. Of course, they are not already in commercialized, but it's going to happen, and it's going to be a big change as well. So we are in front of a change of paradigm in the research, but as well in the management that politics and society has to do of the project, of the disease. So we have to continue to study we have to continue to do observational studies to be sure that we can really explain the disease, and we have all the clue of what is part of the evolution and of the mechanism that are happening. We have to do more clinical trials. There is no way we are going to improve treatment if it's not possible, and we have to start to try these treatments much earlier and see if we can, like that, avoid neurodegeneration and avoid the start of the symptomatologic phases. And then for the people with already the disease, we have to continue to do primary, for symptomatics, we have to do non-pharmacological studies, and we have to do as well tertiary and secondary prevention. What all this information for what? So the take-home message are the following ones. We need more resources. We need more resources for many reasons. One of them, of course, is for the access of the treatment. These treatments are not yet approved in Europe, but they are going to be expensive. They are going to be directed to many people. So how are we going to how the society is going to do with this approach? On the top of that, it's not only the treatment. We need specific structures that are going to be able to give all these medication that are like the oncological units where you have to spend a few hours and then you will have to do MRIs in a much more frequent way than it was before. So all this stuff are a lot of money. We have to do more research. We have to do more research to improve treatment. We have to do more research to try to treat earlier. We have to do more research to try to tackle the project before it gives any symptoms or any steps that are not possible to stop. And for that, we need to convince the politics to include the Alzheimer in their campaigns, in their projects, in the programs. And that's the only way we can do that is fighting. And we believe that we have to do it as soon as possible because it's there already. Thank you.
Thank you, Karine. Now we will have Eva Nebot, our public outreach and institutional relations director, and she will talk about turning research into a social and policy priority. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for coming to this session. My presentation will be focused on our work to make Alzheimer's research a political priority in Spain. This involves raising awareness among governments and policymakers. I want to start by giving some context of the Spanish situation. It is estimated that more than 900,000 people in Spain have dementia. In 2017, the World Health Organization encouraged all countries to develop national responses to the rising cases of dementia. In Spain, the government involved all the stakeholders to formulate a comprehensive plan. Regional governments, Alzheimer's associations, research centers and institutions, scientific societies and experts were called to participate. After a great deal of work and pressure by the Alzheimer's Spanish Confederation, in October 2019, the National Plan on Alzheimer's and Dementia was finally approved. The plan was quite ambitious, and 4 pillars of action were established: research, health policies, services, and awareness. Now, with the plan reaching its conclusion, we can say that very little progress has been made. The main issue has been that the plan never had an appropriate budget. In the state general budget, only €1 million per year has been allocated for the Alzheimer's National Plan during these years. Without funding, the plan has been merely a descriptive and well-intentioned document. Alzheimer's disease is a silent epidemic. In Spain, it is one of the most critical public health issues, and not enough attention is given to it. For this reason, we decided to advocate, to bring attention to this disease, with the firm conviction that definitive solutions will only be found through science and research. We built the advocacy strategy upon some primary goals: to promote Alzheimer's research as a strategic policy priority, to demand an increase in funding for Alzheimer's research, and to make visible the reality and needs of people affected and their caregivers. All these goals are directly and strongly related to our mission. Accordingly, advocacy is a central element in the Foundation's global strategy. Our advocacy plan focuses on several interconnected and complementary lines of action: influence, mobilization, alliances, and data and reports. Communication as a transversal pillar is essential in any advocacy strategy. It plays an essential role in disseminating information and reaching public opinion. We'll hear more about communication during Angel's presentation in just a few moments. I want to share with you some examples of these lines of action. Advocacy is about educating policymakers regarding the necessity for or the consequences of public policy decisions. It involves providing information and evidence to encourage action. To do that, we organize informative events on the premises of the main political Spanish institutions. We gather scientists and experts from different fields to give information and bring attention to the need for more investment in research. Deputies, senators, institution representatives, and citizens attend these events. The first picture you can see is at the Spanish Congress of Deputies in September 2021, and the second is at the Senate of Spain in May 2023, just a few months ago. We also carry out intense public affairs activity and interactions with political stakeholders at different levels. We request meetings and invite government representatives, political parties, deputies, and senators to visit our research facilities. During these meetings, our focus is to highlight that research is the sole solution to Alzheimer's health and social challenge. We also demand that research becomes a priority on the political agenda, emphasizing the critical importance of prevention and early detection. In the first picture, you can see the President of the Government of Spain, Pedro Sánchez, with the Foundation's director in our neuroimage platform. In the second one, Diana Morán, the Minister of Science and Innovation, is visiting our laboratory. At this point, it's important to note that effective advocacy requires a strong institutional representation. This implies having board members, such as the President or the Director, attending meetings, participating in public events, and acting as spokespersons. At the Foundation, we are fortunate to have board members, such as our President here today, who are deeply committed and always willing to participate. In terms of mobilization, we engage citizens by inviting them to join us through different actions. For instance, in 2019, we launched the public petitions Sign for a Future Without Alzheimer's to collect signatures urging the government to increase its commitment. The message was very clear. Sign to allocate 1% of the cost of Alzheimer's to its research. Only with more research can we make a future without Alzheimer possible. The petition successfully collected over 500,000 signatures from Spanish citizens. We presented them to several political leaders to highlight the citizens' support for Alzheimer research. The petition remains active, along with others demanding more services for caregivers or advancements in early detection. Alliances with other actors are key. Advocating together with other organizations increases the visibility and strengthens the messages. A collective voice is more compelling and can exert more effective pressure on policymakers. In this sense, we promoted the Commitment for a Future Without Alzheimer's, a national alliance focused on Alzheimer's research. 13 prominent Spanish organizations have joined it. These include research centers and Alzheimer's associations, but also elderly care institutions and organizations dedicated to the promotion of older people's rights. The commitment demands political action to make Alzheimer's a strategic priority in the scientific, health, and care field. It also promotes research as the only way to overcome this disease. Acting as a group, we've launched a manifesto, requested meetings with policymakers, released public petitions and open letters, and carried out collaborative social media campaigns. On the screen, you can see the logos of the commitment and a picture of a group visit to the Senate of Spain. Sorry. In addition to our engagement activities, we publish reports to reinforce and support our petitions with data. I'll give you two examples. The first one I'd like to mention is the bibliometric report, Spain on the World Map of Bibliographic Production in Alzheimer's and Dementia. Although it's centered in Spain, this report provides a worldwide overview of 5 years of scientific research in these fields. Bibliometric data is widely used to evaluate the impact and quality of research. This includes indicators such as volume of publications, authors, institutions, impact, excellence, and distribution across countries or cities. This chart shows the number of scientific publications by country. As you can see, between 2017 and 2021, the scientific production on Alzheimer's was led clearly by the United States, followed at some distance by China and the UK. But highlighted in green, Spain holds the 6th position, and this is remarkable, considering its size and its resources. We share this information with policymakers. It's important because it demonstrates that our country has scientific talent and competitive research centers. This also suggests that with more support and funding, Spain has the potential to take a leading position in the Alzheimer's research field. The second report I want to share is a survey about what Spanish people know and think about Alzheimer's disease. This survey collects the answers of 2,400 participants in a representative sample of the Spanish population. The responses show deep concern and fear of Alzheimer's. This chart responds to the question, what health conditions are you concerned about developing, and of these, which do you fear the most? As you can see, in darker green, Alzheimer's is one of the health issues that worries the Spanish population the most, ranking second, very close to cancer. 15 years ago, this perception was completely different, and cancer was the most concerning and feared disease by far. This second graph relates to the question, does someone close to you have or had Alzheimer's disease? 67% answered yes. This confirms the significant impact of Alzheimer's in Spain, with 2 out of 3 people claiming to know someone who has had or currently has Alzheimer's. In 27% of the cases, it is a close family member, such as grandparents, parents, or siblings. These 2 reports illustrate how new data and statistics can reinforce and bring strength to the messages we convey to policymakers. They are not in English on our website yet, but if you are interested, please contact us and we'll be delighted to send them to you. To finish, I'd like to summarize some lessons we have learned in this ongoing process of turning Alzheimer's research into a political priority. Advocacy must be considered strategic for the organization. The highest level of institutional representation is required. Communication is essential. Building alliances with other institutions is key. Supporting messages with data is necessary. And finally, patience combined with determination. Advocacy strategies are often long-term. Moving from words to action can be a long journey. Changing policies or shaping public opinions is an incremental process, and it must be done step by step. Working together with unwavering commitment and determination, we will make it happen. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Eva. Now it's Angel's time. Angel's is our communication director, and she will talk about reaching the general public to change consciousness. Thank you. We will have a turn for questions at the end if you wish.
Thanks, Cristina, for the presentation, and thanks to all of you for coming here. It's been impressive these days, these 3 days with you in Helsinki, how much things we learn, yeah? And I'm going to talk about communication in Pasqual Maragall Foundation, starting from a more general point of view about communication and finishing with a case study about one thing we did during this last year. And I will start from Eva's last slide, where she said that communication is essential. I think the communication word is the most word you have here today. Karine talked about communication, Eva talked about communication, so here we are. Communication is a strategy on itself. It's more than, Eva said that is essential. I will do an upgrade on that. I think communication is a must, and all the entities, all the foundations must have communication. Because communication is a strategy on itself and is devoted helping the organization to reach this mission. Here you have some of the characteristics of communication. When you think on what we have to do in communication, you have to think in long-term objectives. It's not for tomorrow, it's for the future. Also, I would say it's the most transversal department in any institution because you serve to all the departments. As you will see, you have to work together with the scientific people and together with advocacy and together with all the entity. And also, you are the one doing the storytelling of the institution. So you are the one that create content, and it's important because it's the things that people will know about you. Just an appointment here. When we talk about communication, most people think that we talk about a press office. And of course, we are a press office also, but it's not just a press office. Most part of them, we are journalists. I'm a journalist, and we work with press releases, and we work with media, and we know how to manage mass media. But we think that is more than that. It's to talk about a brand, it's to talk about corporate communication, it's to talk about internal communication, it's to do in a strategy on itself. So this is the thing, this is a must that we have in our entity when we think on communication and how it works. Here, talking about especially in Pasqual Maragall Foundation, we are a special entity. I know all of your entities and your foundation are special, but we are special because these two things you have seen today. We have a research center, and we are an NGO. So we have to serve as a communicators to all the entity, bearing in mind both things. For one thing, as a research center, we talk about science. We have to disseminate the results, these things that my colleague Karine explained, that they need us for reach the public, and is a must in the scientific communication to talk about science and to reach the people, to transform society, explaining difficult things that scientists do. And on the other side, we are an NGO, and we are a third sector, so in our genetics is that we are committed to contribute to change the world. And also, as Cristina said, we are an entity that we have 70,000 members, so we have to be dedicated to them when we do communication. So these are the two things that we think it's important to bear in mind when we do communication in our entity. What we do in communication? These three words, I will talk a lot in this presentation about these three words: reputation, awareness, and engagement. Reputation, because people must know who you are, and people should know which your entity is, and you have to be credible. Awareness, because people has to know what are you fighting for, in this case Alzheimer, of course, and engagement because you have to have the people with you to transform society and to move things and to make things happen. This is the three words that guide in our communication. Is all the activities we do are together with these words. Explaining in deeper what we do in reputation, how we work in reputation. You may know that most people say that reputation is like Chinese porcelain. Once you broke, you will never. You could reconstruct again, but it will never be the same. So more or less, reputation is the same. Reputation is an intangible. Is the perception that the public has, the sum of your ethics or your action. So it's not what we say you are. It's what the people think you are. So for working on reputation, how we do, we do a communication corporate plan talking about our brand, and to position it again in the general public. We create the storytelling of the organization. We create materials that are declining to all the channels. Of course, we manage the spokespeople agenda in our institution, establishing process and guidelines and all the stuff in a communication corporate communication plan you could do. Through what? Through our channels. From one side, the press, the mass media, managing the relation with the general media. We are the speaker of the institution, so we have to transmit to all the publics among the channels. And we do, as you could see here, we do press releases and all the stuff related to media, to relation with media, because our press office is the way to amplify the results, to translate the scientific contents to general public, to increase and disseminate the results of all our activities. More than that, we also do digital. When we think in digital, it's not just to put a tweet or to put whatever when something happens. It's more than that. In a communication strategy, you need to have a digital communication plan. It means that you have to decide which channels you should have, which type of information you should put in any channel, create content on a daily basis. So that's why we work as that in the Pasqual Maragall Foundation, defining a digital plan, deciding the different channels to be used, and creating the digital content. And finally, talking about reputation, we also need to do internal communication. Our people are the first ambassadors that we could have. So communication, internal communication, is a vehicle of cohesion that serves to the organizations we have, the BBR Center, the Pasqual Maragall Foundation, and the Research Center. Also is a link with human resources, and also helps the organizations to transform. What we do for awareness, so we started from who we are, explaining to people the reputation, so who we are. Now we are talking about people should know what we are fighting for. So we talk about awareness. Here is our divulgation plan. All scientific entities, all the research center must have a divulgation plan, and what is what we include in our awareness activities. You could see some examples here in the pictures about what we do in divulgation, but you can imagine whatever you want, and we will do. We do conferences at schools, we do conference in companies, and we do activities for children. Also, we do some sports, and whatever you can imagine, we do. Also, we participate in all the research activities in our city and in our country. So it's a way to promote a society committed to knowledge, to bring the science to all the targets, translate the scientific contents to general public, increase dissemination of the scientific results, and participate in activities, in science activities. And finally, about engagement, we need to involve the society into our mission to achieve a world without Alzheimer. That's why we do engagement. As I told before, and Cristina also told, we are 70,000 members, but it's more than that. We have also people that follow us, more than 200,000 people following us. I have problems with the numbers in English, with the figures, but it's a lot of people that in some times have an interaction with us, or maybe they come to one of our meetings, or maybe they look information in this blog they mentioned we have, and people interested on what we do, and people that we need to be with us to change the world as we want. So here we have some examples. We have a magazine for them. We have this blog we talk about. We have one yearly meeting a year where we have 1,000 people there, where we explain all the activities and all the information, all the science we did during the year. And also we have our caregivers groups, as Cristina mentioned it before. To put everything in an example, because I think it's the best way that everyone could understand an example about an activity we do and how we organize communication in Pasqual Maragall Foundation. Last year, on August 22, we had our first paper published in Nature magazine. You may know it's one of the most important magazines, science magazines, and it was a big opportunity, and we have to use, yeah. For different reasons, it was a good opportunity because it's our first Nature, but the different things that Karine had explained before, because we are focusing now manage a different way of managing the Alzheimer's disease, where blood biomarkers are going to be a very important for early diagnosis. So we couldn't miss this opportunity. And at the first thing, of course, we thought we have to do a press release, but yes, it's obvious. But we thought it should not be just a press release; it should be more. Yeah. So I will explain here different activities we did during this year regarding following this paper, what we did for press, what we did for digital activities, whatever. Here we have some events, actions, on activities we decide to do after this paper, after this Nature paper. The first thing was celebrating internally. As I told before, internal communication is important, so we have to celebrate. We have a paper, and we have everybody is with us in the entity. Then it happened in August, and in September is our World Alzheimer Day. So we have to we talk in the World Alzheimer Day. We talk about the information about blood biomarkers. We decided that blood biomarkers are the main characters of our flagship campaign. We do every year a flagship campaign to sensibilize, to do awareness about our entity, and we decide to focus on explaining the role of biomarkers. It's a campaign supported by influencers, where you have social media, also advertisement. Is a big campaign that starts in September and finishes in December or January next year, and we decide to focus on that. And we achieve a lot of results on mass media. Then in the next slide you will see. Also, we decide that this meeting we had with our members a year should talk about the blood biomarkers. And we do a lot of activities like prevention activities with our members, prevention activity in the school, etc. And also a biomarkers meeting. This is for science. We had a biomarker meeting this last May in our facilities to be together with the best professionals on biomarker research in the world, and we had more than 80 experts together in our city. So we also have the opportunity to do press office regarding this meeting. And as Eva told, we were to Senate, or we were to the politics, explaining this message to everybody. In media, this is I just put here 4 examples for press releases we did. During this year. Of course, we take advantage of any opportunity we have to talk about blood biomarkers, to talk about everything, yeah. But these 4 are related to the Nature paper, then the biomarkers blood meeting for scientists that we have in our facility, and also with the World all day and the flagship campaign. And you could see here the results. We had, just for these four press releases, we had almost 3,000 articles posted, and an estimated audience in Spain for more than 60 million people. So it's a big figures, and it's a big opportunity to explain to the world our science and our mission. Then this is our digital plan. In digital, we do as you could see, there are more than 60 posts explaining directly that biomarker blood is included in the content, but we have what we call hero post. So it means that we have information, it's both more developed, where we do videos or infographics or whatever, and we have 6 related to biomarkers. You could see here that we have the launch, an Alzheimer dictionary that we do, where our scientists explain to the world different subjects. Also, we had an Instagram live explaining about that. So the results, as you see here, are big results, impressions, and interactions in the digital area. And talking about the engagement we mentioned before with our community, we do a lot of things during this year. We do the meetings you have. We send information about the blood biomarkers with our blog, also with our newsletters, and whatever you could see here. And the blog has more than 2 million followers per year, so it's a big number. So the take-home message, lessons learned, and communication is a must, as I said in all of the organization, is the way to convey activities into messages and conversation, making scientific developments understandable. It's important, so I talked about reputation, awareness, and engagement. So it's the way to transform interested people that know you because you have a reputation, transform it into a follower because he's aware of what you do, and then it's a supporter of what you do because you do engagement with them. And I think it's the only way to change consciousness and mindsets to put and to fight for a world without Alzheimer.
Well, thank you very much for attending. Thank you very much to my team for this great presentation. As you can see, we go to work every day very much committed and with the belief that a world without Alzheimer's is possible. As my father used to say, nowhere it is written that Alzheimer's is invincible. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, we will be happy to attend you. No? Yes?
How easy is it for you to access PET scanning in Sweden?
Yes, Karine will answer to that.
In Barcelona, it's quite easy. There is, so for the scanning, it's easy because at the beginning, so in the foundation, we have an MRI. At the beginning, we wanted to have an MRI and a PET scanning, but we did a study of what was available in Barcelona, and we saw that there was a lot of hours free in the different scans that we had in the city. What is not easy is to get radio tracers for research because there is no enough cyclotron, and they are used to produce commercial things and not research. But we are doing lobby. We are now creating, we are building a community hub of researchers in Barcelona because now we have the strength to say that we have a lot of publication, that we are strong, and that they need to listen to us. So that's one of the things we want to fight for.
Okay, thank you very much. See you again.